So, we are back for episode 2 of the Stressing Mets podcast, and wow is all I could say. Massive and huge changes from this team all around since our last podcast. The Mets coming into Monday morning are 7-8 in third in the National League East and have won 3 straight series in a row. This includes series wins in both Cincinnati and in Atlanta, which are huge, as well as a series win at home on Doc Gooden retirement weekend against the Royals. In today's podcast, I would like to discuss a few of these topics which are why the Mets have been successful in the past couple series. And let's start off. For starters, I want to discuss Brett Baty. Wow, what happened to him? He is an actual MLB caliber player, arguably above average all-star caliber. The 24-year-old third baseman has started to get a better read on big league pitching this season off of both righties and especially left-handed pitching. Tip of the cap to him on that. Baty has hit safely in 7 straight games and 11 of the 13 to begin the season, slashing .315, .362, and .751 with 1 home run. Baty has been going to the opposite field a lot lately and really keeping that nice level swing. Baty is making contact, he's striking out little, he's putting the ball in play, and even his outs have been productive, whether he's advancing someone over, fundamental baseball. So Brett Baty is really going to be huge for this team's success. Another offensive candidate that we're going to be talking about for our next topic is Brandon Nimmo. Not a surprise with his elite and excellent performance as per usual. Nimmo is currently slashing. It's early, but .232, .382, and .818 with 2 home runs, 12 ribbies, and his elite 11 walks. Nimmo has leveled out his swing, getting the fat off of it, which has been generating more power. And as we've seen, Nimmo's exit velocity has been big this season with plenty of hard hit line drives and hard hit balls, way over 100 miles per hour. Nimmo also remains very disciplined at the plate, keeping his elite on-base percentage and walks still as normal, nothing new, death taxes, and he gets on base. Nimmo being moved to left field defensively has looked fine, honestly, really no complaints. He has a good arm, he's great defensively. He'll play a couple games in center this year, but Nimmo is huge for the Mets' offensive success and is a valuable table setter, no doubt. On to our next topic today, we have the whole Mets offense as a whole. The Mets offense 1 through 9 has really turned it around since starting the season 1 and 5. Everyone in the batting order 1 through 9 has been contributing very, very well, whether it's through hits, whether it's through walks, hit by pitches, etc. From a team that was in the lower to last categories in average, on-base percentage, slugging, runs, and many other offensive categories, from jumping up 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spots is absolutely huge. Scoring 29 runs against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta was a keynote, high-scoring games, and even batting back when down 4 or 5 runs has been showing. We saw this in Atlanta, that this is an offense that is capable of always putting up a fight to the 27th last out. It seems with this Mets team sometimes it's not over till the 27th man goes back to the dugout and the pitcher and catcher handshake on the mound or high five or whatever they do now. So having a balance of good pitching and good hitting at the same time, hence consistency, is huge. We saw it from this team last year. They could never do that. They could never have the best of both worlds. When they hit, they didn't pitch. When they pitched, they didn't hit. Now we're seeing a both combination of that, and that's huge. The Mets went from averaging, like I said earlier this season, 2.3 runs to now 7 in the span of a week. That is absolutely huge. So huge high hopes for this New York Mets team with their offense. They are going to be really, hopefully, a big powerhouse offensively. So nextly, coming into our next topic of the day, we have Francisco Lindor. And, it's safe to say Francisco Lindor is in a massive slump. And I know what everyone's going to say. For the 3 years he's been on the Mets, he's always started off slow and worked his way up as the season goes on. But, Lindor, he's never played this bad. This is just completely something else. Currently, coming on Monday morning, Lindor has a triple slash line of 129, 236, and 430 with only 1 home run, 2 RBIs. Lindor, really, really struggling offensively. Defensively, he's fine, no complaints. That's irrelevant. But offensively, really struggling. We know he's a switch hitter. We know that righty, lefty, righty mentality that he does with batting. And it drives me nuts. He's a great hitter, righty. And I know what everyone's going to say, oh, the power numbers are the same, lefty versus righty. But as a righty, you could tell that his swing is much more sweet. He's making more contact. He hits more line drives. Where I feel as a lefty is where he's really struggling. And he's been batting more left-handed because there's more righty pitchers in MLB, obviously. So he's batting more left-handed and really, really struggling. He's like 3 for 50-something when batting left-handed. And I feel when it comes to him batting left-handed, it's all this launch angle shenanigans or blopping the ball over to the first baseman, really like dribbler to the first baseman or pitcher or second baseman to the right side of the field, where he really needs to start making hard, solid contact, connecting on barrels. And that's why I like seeing him bat as a righty. And we saw it yesterday. Even his 2 outs yesterday as a righty were to the warning track. They were hard-hit balls. So, Francisco Lindor is really going to need to step it up. And I know people say, oh, the power numbers, it's not different. Lefty versus righty, but average-wise, getting on base and just contact as a whole, completely more favorable from the right-hand side. So I don't really know what the philosophy is. I'm not sure why Carlos Mendoza, Eric Chavez, and this whole Mets offensive coaching staff tell Lindor, bat righty, dude. It's common knowledge, but there could be something more to it. But you really hope, Mets fans gave Francisco Lindor a standing ovation. We saw that. It worked last year for Trey Turner with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he went off. So we'll see with Lindor. He had a couple of moments to really show off, and he wasn't able to execute. We saw yesterday against the Kansas City Royals, bases loaded. He came up, first pitch, batting lefty, popped it out into the outfield, popped it out into the foul territory. First baseman caught it, little light out. So it's stuff like that. Really want to see Lindor start to produce. I'm confident he will. It's early. Yes, this is probably his worst slump that we've ever seen, but just bat righty, just bat right-handed. That's all I could really think of and request. So that's Francisco Lindor. Now comes into the IL, the injuries, which have been pretty good, knocking on wood. We have a couple updates with JD Martinez and Kodai Senga. Starting off with JD Martinez, he is going to start swinging the bat again. We know that he was on the IL due to a couple back-related issues, but he is fine now, and he obviously signed with the New York Mets very late this offseason, hence pretty much in spring training, so he is going to have a couple starts down in the minor league affiliate for the New York Mets. So once Martinez gets a couple of those starts, he should be ready to play for the New York Mets in New York, in Flushing, at the big boy level. So hoping JD Martinez could be back early first week of May. And, it's only going to be scary if this lineup is continuing to produce, 7-point-something games per runs per game. It's going to be crazy to see what JD Martinez can add to that table. You want to keep him healthy. I'm not sure how the DH platoon situation is going to look like when Martinez first comes back due to health, if he'll be the everyday DH, if he may make, 3 out of 5 of those starts due to health for the first couple weeks, for the first couple series. But Martinez coming back in this lineup, and if he could be that bat that everyone says he is, it's going to be huge. It's going to be very, very dangerous for MLB. So Martinez coming back is going to be huge. And then the pitching. The pitching's been great without Kodai Senga. The Mets, I believe, have the best ERA in the National League. And that is without Kodai Senga. So Kodai Senga should hopefully be back. They said he's throwing from 120 feet. He'll be throwing off the mound. So he should be back Memorial Day weekend from the 60-day IL at the latest. So consider it a quarter season, nice acquisition. And, we'll see if the Mets are going to run with a 6 rotation. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Mets handle the rotation, if they go with the 6-man, if they go with a 5-man rotation. So that'll be something to discuss. Keep Senga healthy. So wouldn't be the worst of ideas. But alrighty, baseball fans, Mets fans, that is the end of this podcast. Please feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you agree with what I said, if you disagree, hey, that's okay. We could have a peaceful conversation about it in the chat. And always, please feel free to give this podcast video a like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, on all other great things. Otherwise, I greatly appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's episode number 2 of the Stressing Mets New York Mets podcast, and we will be back for episode 3 next week. Big week coming up ahead, home, and then the Mets go on the West Coast, so we will see. Till next time, baseball fans, see ya. LFGM.